Hi, you might recognize me from other Connext-related Twitter spaces. My name is Grog, and I appreciate you coming to sit down with us today for Connext Community Call number 5. It's been a little bit of a minute since we did another one of these things, but they are, of course, terribly important, and we want to let you guys know what's going on. So we're going to be covering as per usual, wide variety of topics today. I'm talking with the Connext team themselves to find out, what's on the horizon, what kind of campaigns are coming down the pipe, some quality of life updates that you see both on the back end and with the bridge itself. Some updates about the ecosystem. Going to be talking to a couple of our integration partners because, as you know, Connext is integrating with a lot of other services and projects. And basically just going through where we're at as we follow midway through Q2 2023. So we're going to get started. I'm just going to have a quick moment here that our speakers can introduce themselves, or at least those who have joined. So we'll start off by getting an introduction from Rahul.
Hey guys, my name's Rahul. I'm one of the co-founders of Connext. I lead the engineering effort here. So all things technical.
Perfect. Matthew.
Hey everyone, GM. I'm Matthew. I'm the ecosystem lead here at Connext. So yeah, I oversee most things non-technical. Looks like Joe may have lost connection here, so we'll just hang tight for 1 second, let everybody get reconnected. I guess in the meantime, maybe Alex, if you can request a speaking role, let's get you on for an introduction quickly.
All right. Sorry about that. A little bit of a internet hiccup on my end. Well, if Santiago has not introduced themselves, you can feel free to do so.
Hey, thanks. I'm Santiago, but mostly known as Cocky. I'm one of the developers in the Prode team.
Perfect. And last but not least, we have Oxget.
Hey there. You can call me Jed if you want to, Joe. It's a little bit easier than 0x Jed or 0x Jed. I'm Jed, one of the co-founders of Mint Finance from the Latin American community here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today, guys. I do apologize for that minor technical glitch there. For a moment, my internet has been going up and down for the last little while, so now we are working fully on data, but that's okay. So to get started, we're just going to jump right into it. So we're going to move over to Matthew, who's going to give us a bit of an ecosystem update. Matthew, you can take it away now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've spoken to all of you guys, and so there are a ton of amazing updates on our end, and I'll try and run through some of them here quickly. So the first of which is that while we've kind of been heads down, we've actually been integrating a ton of amazing projects that are building on top of Connext and enabling cross-chain features and interoperability in a number of ways. And so if you haven't already done so, I would recommend hopping onto connext.network/ecosystem to check out some of our integrators. If you are a builder that's interested in exploring, by all means, please reach out to us. We're happy to kind of help you to ideate through the process and really think through the ways that Connext can help to upgrade the feature set of your DApp and really help you to expand to be more seamless in a multi-chain world. The next that I wanted to quickly cover is that we are continuing some of the Twitter spaces that you guys have been enjoying. You may have seen the How to Build a DAO series recently, and I'm sure that many of you recall the What's Next series that we had been doing. We're happy to announce that we're doing the next iteration of that. And so you will see the What's Next for on-chain liquidity that's happening at Friday at 9:30 Eastern with Bancor. And so if you haven't already set a reminder for that, would recommend that you do so. Next, wanted to say thanks to all of the community who has helped to bootstrap liquidity as we launched USDT and DAI. If you haven't already done so, we have an existing campaign underway for that. And so there's some dashboarding available as we wrap up our first liquidity bootstrapping campaign to show the top 30% of LPers there. And then, of course, we have the USDT and DAI campaign well underway. Yeah, a lot of updates on our side. I think the next two that's worthwhile to mention is that on the 21st, we will also be kicking off an Alpha Insiders campaign for folks that bridge at least $50 and provide at least $20 in liquidity. And so yeah, you'll see some details there over the coming days as that campaign launches. And then I guess really the final one to cover is that over the coming days and weeks, there are a ton of announcements that are coming up. And so especially for folks that have followed for the project for a long time, it's definitely worth hopping onto our Discord if you haven't already, turning on notifications for the Twitter account, because there's a ton of amazing things that are well underway. And you can expect to see those over the coming weeks and next few months. So I will turn it back over to you, Grarg, to continue on.
Perfect. Well, I'll take this opportunity just to offer an introduction portion as well for another one of our speakers who just joined us, and that's Alex. And Alex, if you wanted to give a quick introduction for yourself and talk about any of the portions of the ecosystem update that you want to talk about as well.
Hey, yeah, this is Alex. I'm the head of product at Connext. So I'm going to touch on some of our recent launches and what we're looking forward for just like quality of life for the users. So yeah, nice to meet you all.
All right. Well, that's actually where we're at now. So if you wanted to jump in on that, now's the time to do so.
Sure. So most recently, we launched USDT and DAI into the network. This is a huge effort in terms of just bootstrapping liquidity. It's gone very well so far. We've seen about $5 million of inflow into the AMM pools and about 33% increase in the router side. We also closely track basically inflows of USDT and DAI against kind of outflows from the other pools. And so far, it's been very heavy on the inflow side. One of the things we're definitely focused on is like giving LPs a good experience. So if you have feedback about adding liquidity or that process, please let us know. We're really looking at boosting APY and yield and providing just a positive experience there. We're also looking ahead at adding additional assets in the future. Right now, again, we're really trying to focus on getting the user experience as good as possible with these original stables. But yeah, so far it's good, and we're continuing to expand.
Perfect. All right. Well, that definitely gives us a lot to look forward to on the upcoming ecosystem. So we're going to move it over here now to Rahul, who's going to give us a little bit of an update on chain abstraction.
Yeah, totally. So one thing we're really excited to announce at this community call and in general is this new primitive that we've come up with and launched here at Connext, which is referred to as chain abstraction. So at Connext, ever since we started Connext, and one of the main reasons why we started Connext is because we believe, first of all, that we are living in an extremely multi-chain world. Like there's going to be roll-ups on top of roll-ups on top of roll-ups. There's going to be tons of different app chains. There's going to be chains everywhere. Like I think we see, whatever it is, 100 chains right now. There's going to be thousands of chains in the future. And the only way you're really going to be able to interact with these chains is through proper tooling mechanisms that abstract these chains away from you. So chain abstraction is one major step we've taken towards that direction. So basically what chain abstraction allows you to do is interact with a dApp from any chain. So we've built a framework which consists of smart contracts and off-chain code, which allows integrators to really easily integrate this process into their own dApps to allow users to interact with their dApps from any chain, and not only any chain, but any asset as well. So we will take care of all the process behind the hood of swapping assets, bridging, and swapping assets on the destination chain, and make that whole process seamless and one click for users. So we're really excited because we've already had a couple really awesome teams starting to experiment and build with it. A couple of those are going to be featured on this space very soon. So really excited to do that. We're really excited to announce this, launch this, and help support anybody that wants to build with this. So if you have a dApp that is interested in this functionality of providing support, allowing your dApp to be able to be used cross-chain from any other chain. It would be really awesome, if you took a look at what we have, reached out to us, entered our Discord, etc. Yeah, so we're excited about this, and we really want this to be a success.
All right, we're just rocketing through the agenda here. We may have overestimated the time required to talk about some of these subjects. But on the plus side, this gives us a quicker opportunity to pivot to talk to some of our integration partners. So we'll start off with Mean Finance and give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about your product and how that integrates with Connext.
Awesome. Thank you for giving the mic, Joe. Yeah, we're plowing through every point of the space, but it's amazing to hear the new USDT and the integrations. Well, Mean Finance, for those who don't know, we wanted to build the go-to platform for the centralized investment tools, especially the tools that foster responsible and diversified exposure to this emerging crypto asset thesis. So we want to spin a bit the table of what has been going and been doing the ethos of Web3 until now. We know that common behavior nowadays is it's to ape into things and just try to find the biggest APY and be a lobster and a leech on liquidity minings. But we feel that a new platform is needed to onboard the next cohort of users. And in that sense, we prioritize diversification and prudence in the approach that we recommend our users, trying to simplify their investment journey in this new future of France, if we will. And on that sense, our flagship product right now, it's a DCA tool that allows you to set up a recurring trade. So let's say a user wants to invest 10K in ETH, and they want to invest it in 100 days, or let's say 10 days. So they can get the best average when going into an asset. So they don't need to think about like, hey, am I buying the top? Am I going to buy the bottom? It's a long-term investment view, right? And you can set up an investment for 10 days, 100 days, 200 days. And the cool thing about our product, our DCA product, is that you won't pay for the gas cost of each trade. We've done some cool game theory there that makes market maker execute the trades of our users. And a bit more technical there, the cool thing about how we built our platform is that it's so scalable, that on Optimism, once we had like 16K positions to be executed, and we only spent like $6. So even in the future of having multiple layers and layer 3s and layer 4s and up chains that you guys are also preparing for, we are able to execute in any of those layers because we're like ultra cheap. And that's why also we are deployed on Ethereum for our DCA tool. But additionally, we have built a swap aggregator, kind of what Llamas have also built, but we feel that we've improved upon UX there to allow our users to find the best prices in all the ecosystem. So we've got like 25 EVM chains, so really prepare for the future. And we've got like 10 aggregators integrated there. So that's a bit on Mean Finance on the current state. And on our integration with Connext, we're building closely with the team to bring the future of Omnichain and what we feel is the future of Omnichain to the present, right? Being able to create a DCA position on Polygon from Optimism. And if I want to make Optimism my home, in the future, maybe a little bit further in the future, because we still need to figure some UX stuff out, you will be able to edit your Polygon's position, but from Optimism. So you won't need to have funds on every chain. You will be able to have a home chain, if you will. And that's going to be allowed by Connext and their cross-call, well, X-call possibilities. and adding futures, adding swapping futures into that. So that's a bit on how we're integrating with Connext right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that and going into detail. We'll move on then to Prode and give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your product and how your integration experience with Connext's been going.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having us in this space and have the opportunity to talk a little bit about Prode. For those who didn't know us, if I have to define Prode in one sentence, I will say that it's a decentralized and permissionless pool betting app. But let's dig a little bit on what does this mean. This starts like a year ago when we found that in the betting industry, there are several issues regarding the transparency and how everything is concentrated in a few players who manage the odds when you try to bet regarding the result of a match result, a soccer match, an NBA result, etc. So we start to build Prode as a decentralized, permissionless, and trustless protocol. And we think that this is one of the most important things. But it's not like a traditional sports betting markets where you only bet or try to predict the result of one outcome, or if one team will win this following match. In the case of Prode, it's a very old kind of predictions that works in Argentina in the 1970s. And this is like a pool of predictions. Yeah, you have to predict different events that are correlated, of course, and you will earn 1 point for one of the correct predictions that you made. For example, and the most basic examples to understand this is you have the following match day in the Premier League, and you have to predict all the results in this match day. You know, so you can go right now if you want to predict that market, select the Premier League market, predict every one of the results, place your bet, you will receive an NFT. And when the results are known, you will earn 1 point for every prediction that you make correct. With these points, a ranking will be constructed. And of course, the user who collects more points will earn the pool price. And the idea of having this like a pool price is every bet has a fixed price, and all the money goes to the pool, and the user who collects more points will earn the pool. Yeah, there are some variants that you could make, the market creator can make, to not only make that the user who collects more points will earn the whole pool, but you can distribute the pools for the first, second, third, or whatever combination do you want. And I have said also that this protocol is permissionless because anyone can create a market. Right now we are creating some markets to show how you can use Prode, but for example, the Connext team can go to the website and create a new market regarding if Connect will reach some amount of liquidity and some amount of transactions in the following week, for example, and all the users can bet and try to predict if those numbers will be met. Yeah, that's one of the other key advantages, because we don't want that some centralized entity control the odds of an event and controls who can bet in whatever topic they want. And to reach that and make that available, we use Realitio and Kleros as an oracle, because that's one of the tricky parts on this protocol, how you put on chain the information of the outcome of the different events. And Reality and Kleros give us this flexibility to create markets of almost anything. These oracles runs in Gnosis chains, also in mainnet, in Ethereum mainnet, but we all know that the gas for the transactions in mainnet it's quite harsh. So we are running in Gnosis chain, and thanks to the Connext integration, right now we can bet on the different markets from almost any chain. We we integrate Connext a few weeks ago using the USDC bridge and the XCall fast path, and these integrations enable us to receive bets from Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, or Binance Chain. And right now we are working to change this integration to use the new pools of DAI, so we can use only one token, because in Gnosis Change the home token is XDAI, and it will be easier for us to have the DAI integration. So like this is like the new thing that we are working on for the near future. And I think that the easiness and seamless integration that Connext can bring us will help us to make more easy the platform for the users to try to abstract the knowledge of blockchain for the users, so they can interact with any market, increase the pool prices that will be distributed for the winners, all thanks to these amazing tools that Connext is bringing to us.
Perfect. I'll give the opportunity here, actually, see if the team has anything to add or any questions they have about the integrations with Mean, and I'll hopefully pronounce it correctly this time, Prode, and any of the anything you've seen with integrating those services or those products with Connext.
So that was a question for us, the integration partners, or for the Connext team? Sorry.
It could go for either. We got some time to munch up here, so I'm open to having a little bit of a roundtable or a bit of a discussion about the product integration.
Perfect, for sure. Yeah, I think, to be honest, on our side, on Mean Finance side, we are really proud of trying to provide the best user experience there is. For example, in our DCA product, and also on our aggregator, we feel that the user experience it's pretty good compared to other stuff on the market. And when we talk about omnichain, and when we have been talking about omnichain and cross-chain with Connext team, we realized that the biggest challenge is not the integration, and that it's something really, really good to say about Connext, but that the biggest challenge is how will we provide user experience, right? Like a streamlined user experience when we talked about omnichain in applications. For example, Uniswap has provided a streamlined interface for swaps. You just do from to, and if you check, like, for example, 1inch and whatever other players, they have exactly the same user experience. And I think we as a community still need to do a lot of research to understand, like, how does the best user experience looks like in terms of cross-chain and omnichain. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and that's something you brought up is really important there, where Uniswap basically came up with something with their swap UI, and then everyone just copied that because that worked the best. So really, like you said, like, we're not fully there with bridges, or I guess, all the bridge UIs have kind of converged into very similar looking UIs. But then when you get to like real true omni-chain interactions, like what you guys are doing and what we're trying to do with chain abstraction, it's still very much like what do these things look like to the user at the end? What does the user experience look like? And that's really kind of where we're trying to push the innovation, try things out, figure out what works best, really like be user centric with our focus, and figure out how we can make the user experience much better and appeal to everyone, make things easier. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, because there's like, I don't want to say a disconnect, but there's something interesting. For example, on our integration with Connext in our product, you may want to create a position, a DCA position, that the parameters of the position or the idea of the position, it's I want to go from USDC to, I don't know, for example, buy Grails on Arbitrum, but I want to fund it with OP token from Optimism. So what do you do there on a user experience, right? Because you can't say, okay, the user it's going from Optimism to Grails. He's actually just funding the position with Optimism token. So there's something about wording there that you can say. For example, if you go into Connext UI to bridge assets, it's pretty straightforward, right? You go like from a from token to a to token on a destination chain. But when you start talking about more complex interactions, that wording and then that mental idea starts being more complex. And as it's more complex, it's more difficult to communicate correctly too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of things that users have to think about too. It's like when they're dealing with these multi-chain, omni-chain interfaces, they have to think about RPCs. They have to think about having gas on a destination chain. So it's kind of really a pretty crappy process in general for users. Like, you can't tell like your mom or your dad or someone like that to try to use it. They'll never be able to use it. Like these things should be as easy to use as like a bank account. Like if I want to use Mean Finance, I should be able to use Mean Finance like it's my savings account. I shouldn't have to think about what chain is Mean Finance on. Okay, let me switch my RPC to that chain. Oh shoot, I need like assets over here, so let me like do this swap and then bridge. But then like, oh, I can only bridge this asset, so now I have to swap back. Then I have to bridge. Then I have to deposit it into this contract. So those are like, just that like basic 5-step process of abstracting out which chain you're on, how do you get to this other chain, how do you interact with a smart contract without needing destination side gas. That is like a big part of the solution that we're trying to provide here together with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think to Rahul's point, like even for people that would describe themselves as crypto native or veterans, I mean, many of us on the Connext team have obviously been working on interoperability for years. And it's still a confusing and kind of frustrating process. Our kind of research indicates that the majority of people are bridging for potential like yield opportunities, things of this nature. And I think in those examples, if you're trying to like, lend into a pool on another chain, there is this process that really takes away from your interaction with that company or DApp in general, where it's like you connect, you realize that maybe there's better yield elsewhere. Maybe you're on Optimism and there's better yield on Polygon. And so you have to leave that DApp. You have to find like the appropriate bridge those assets, oftentimes to Rahul's point, swap into a portion of your funds into whatever asset is used for gas on the destination chain, and then you reconnect. And so after all of that said, you've interacted with multiple third-party services, and it really does take away from your ability to like enjoy and interact with a DApp efficiently. And so yeah, over the coming days, you'll hear a lot more from us on chain abstraction as we kind of release toolkits and supplemental tooling around this to make it quite easy for any DApp developer, ideally to integrate a solution like this inside of a day. And so, yeah, if you are involved in a project where you think you would like to either deploy multi-chain or you would like for users to be able to access you from any chain, please reach out to the team, hop on our Discord. We're happy to help you explore that solution.
Let me jump here. I agree totally with what you have said, but also I think that we have like two kind of users in our dApps. You have like the advanced user who want to know in which chain it's operating and understand all the risks, etc. but also you have the other kind of user that don't want to know in which chain they are. They only want to make the lending pool, applying the lending pool, play the betting product or whatever they want to do with all that abstraction, and don't understand what is going on under the hood. So we are, in our vision, we are trying to make those abstractions, and I think that Connext helps a lot to that. But also we have to keep in mind that maybe another users want another kind of information to understand what is going on.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. I think, that does speak a lot to the overall underlying architecture and infrastructure of blockchains in general, because everything is open source, all the transactions are visible, everything is like modular, just like smart contract based. It's really easy to kind of like pick into various pieces and dig under the hood to figure out exactly what's going on. So yeah, I think what you're kind of alluding to is that there is this like power user type interface where they might want to like click every step just to see it go through the process, versus this kind of like abstracted UI. However, I do think that's kind of more of just like an enthusiast thing right now. Like we all are these kinds of power users because we're so early in this space. However, as the space grows more and more, like, people are not going to want to do that anymore. And you can think of it like the internet or something. Like, back in the day, like people used to like do these things where they had to like configure servers themselves, or like very like in-depth things to like how you have to like dial up modem to connect to the internet and things like that. Those were like the early days where you had to go through these very manual steps of process. Now, even if you're a power user or technical person like that, you don't even like think about that. It's just like a given. So I think eventually we will get to that point where these things work so well that it's really just like a given that they all work really well, and you don't even need to think about what's going on under the hood.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
Rahul, I think to your point, like we actually saw a very similar movement in traditional finance, especially with stock trading, right? You have the power users that are able to access kind of layer 2 data and see like the open bid and ask and the change in the spread, the trade velocity. But then for the majority of users that just want to like, buy a share of Apple stock or whatever the case may be, we have like kind of moved forward into these very simple and streamlined interfaces that really puts the user as close in connection with the DApp or with the value extraction mechanism that they're seeking. And so I think it wouldn't be too terribly surprising to see, especially a lot of the financial applications in the crypto space, kind of follow a similar suit, where for the average user, they just want to interact in a very simple way. And for those advanced or power users, they do have the opportunity to view these like more advanced trading dashboards or otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if we want to onboard the next million of users, we have to go with this abstraction and make our user interface pretty easy. But we have to keep in mind that maybe you will need in your dApp like an advanced mode for all other users who want like more details in what they are doing.
Totally. So yeah, I think like to kind of wrap up the topic, this is something that we're actively bringing to market. We have a bunch of integrations we're excited to announce so that you guys can see chain abstraction out in the wild and what it's really capable of. But in the meantime, as we do so, if you are a developer or a founder or working on a project where you think it would be valuable for users to be able to interact with your application, not only from any chain, but using any asset, definitely reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through that process and to really help flesh out what that integration looks like and be a support along the way.
Yeah, and just to add to that, even if you're not a developer or a founder and you're just like an enthusiast and interested in this stuff, like Ged and the other guys who are getting at here, it's like this user interface, this user experience is still very much like under construction. And the only thing that is going to make this better is through like user feedback. So if you're a user and you have a lot of like really good ideas about how this stuff can look better, work better, then please go and try out these apps, see how they look, see how they can improve, and then come and talk to us in our Discord, hit us up on Twitter, whatever it is. And, we want to hear from you.
All right. Awesome. So now we're going to pivot and let Alex talk a little bit about, some upcoming quality of life improvements that we're going to be seeing coming through for Connext specifically.
Sure, yeah. And I think a lot of it ties to what we just talked about, but we really look at, quality of life improvements from kind of a short-term lens and a long-term lens. So in the short term, we're looking on just current integrations and like LPs and bridge users. And so we're really doubling down on the stability of our core systems. We want to make sure that we have like the best possible transfer experience on a per transfer basis. So that means having enough liquidity available always for fast liquidity. It means having really bolstered security systems and infrastructure systems, alerting systems to make sure everything is working as smoothly as possible. We're looking at reducing costs and the gas efficiency of the overall system. These are things that are quite complex and happen at a very core level, but will play out in big ways over the long term. And just kind of looking longer term, we're again focusing heavily on the chain abstraction. So we're really trying to build like a best-in-class developer experience. We really think that bridging is, as we mentioned, just a kind of temporary user experience that people go through today. And longer term, we want like applications to be natively cross-chain. And so for developers, we're really looking at building out that chain abstraction kind of use case in a lot of ways, like providing very basic templates on how to build this into your application, providing UX patterns that, to the point that was brought up, speak to, the advanced degen user or, your grandma user. So we're going to have to like try and bridge the gap. And I think the biggest thing we're trying to focus on is making this as easy to integrate and as repeatable as possible. We want to partner closely with people that are also interested in this and building in the space to like flesh out what this cross-chain user experience should look like and like what the basic kind of core primitives should be to make this as easy to build as possible. Because, as mentioned, for chain abstraction to really work, there's a kind of economies of scale where, if just your app is chain abstracted, it isn't as good of an experience as if every other app you touch is. So if you're moving money to anywhere, but you want to abstract that from the user, ideally you don't have to think about which other application you use is on specific chains. If they're all chain abstracted, then the overall user experience is much more cohesive. So to that end, we're building a lot of developer-focused kind of tooling and documentation and templates to make that as seamless as possible. And that will increase a lot of volume through the system and basically increase yield for all of our LPs. So that's really our kind of strategy longer term. And again, the short term, it's just making sure that, while we still have this bridge product, it works as fast and as secure as possible. And it's constantly providing, a perfect bridging experience. I think those are the main things. Oh, one more thing is just as an LP, we're focused on making that easier as well. We realize there's a lot of steps to that. And so we're trying to make it as simple as a one-click LP from any chain where it swaps into any asset that you want to provide. So basically taking that chain abstraction and baking it into our own products and improving our own LP experience. I think I touched on a lot of it, but we love hearing from the community, so it's been brought up a few times. But if you do have pain points or like major features you'd like to see, definitely be vocal about it, please. We're definitely listening out for any good ideas all the time and listening to your feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. All right. And last but not least, I'm going to hand it over to Matthew, who's got a bit of a call to action for everybody here.
Yeah, so I think broadly, I just want to recap a few items that were covered in the call. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the fact that we'll be rolling out chain abstraction. Keep an eye out next week for a bunch of additional news around that. I think that's quite exciting. And then, for folks that had been requesting it, we added USDT and DAI support. So if you guys have not already done so, you certainly can bridge using those assets now. And to Alex's point, like we love to hear from you guys, and so please know that when you're requesting different chains and assets, it's not falling on deaf ears. We always take the approach of like taking a security first and trust minimization mindset. And so there's a lot that goes into expanding this support, from ensuring that, the connectors are audited by some of the best security firms in the space, to really ensuring that we're providing the assets that move the needle the most for bridge users. And so, encourage you guys all to continue to be vocal. And then I think the overarching theme is, especially for folks that have been following us all the way back since 2017, you may know that we're kind of a bit of an incognito project in many ways. I think we kind of made a name for ourselves when we released Cross-Pollinate and the NXTP version 1, the first bridge that we released. And I'm super excited to say that this is only the beginning, especially as we look forward throughout the remainder of this year. There's a ton of exciting things in the pipeline. And so you guys are kind of just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what's to come. And so I would say, for any of you that are just discovering Connext, maybe you've used it once, one, get involved in our community. There's tons of ways to kind of reach the team and interact with us. We pride ourselves on being very approachable. And so if anyone reaches out to us, we're happy to have conversations, chat through things. But also there's going to be lots of ways to get involved with local communities. I think for many of you that are tuning in around the world, you may be surprised to discover that there are community members in your area, and we do local meetups and events, things of that nature. And so if you haven't already done so, hop in the Discord and just ask around on if there's a local community in your area. Chances are more than likely that there is a group of Connext enthusiasts in the area and that are hosting local events. And so would encourage you guys to get involved in that way. And then, the final point that I think we've covered a few times now, if you are interested in building in the space, you're working on a project, or you just really want to learn more about a security first approach to going multi-chain or cross-chain, please jump in and interact with us. We've got a lot of really incredibly intelligent people working on solving some of these major problems. And so we're happy to discuss our approach, answer questions or otherwise. I guess with that, would really like to thank all of you for tuning in and being part of our community. And turn on those notifications on Twitter if you haven't already done so, because there's going to be some exciting announcements coming up really soon.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Matthew. I'll say the same. Thank you, everybody who came out to speak with us, those from the Connext team and those from the integration partners. We truly appreciate your time and your efforts here. Once again, my name's Grog, and you should follow everybody in the spaces. I will say this on every spaces I host, but 100%, if you're not following these guys on Twitter, you need to be, because this is the place to get that information. You're going to see some of the greatest insights you'll see in the space from all of these wonderful, hardworking people that are exceptionally knowledgeable and will lead you to the promised land as far as this space goes. Please join us again tomorrow. We have another What's Next session coming up tomorrow morning. I'm not sure what time that is UTC. It is approximately around this same time. So check the Connext Twitter for more information regarding that, because I will be back and you'll get to listen to me once again. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Oh, join us on Discord. If you're not on our Discord, please come to discord.gg/Connext and have a chat with us, as they invited you to earlier, because we do listen to everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.